and welcome to the Scary Goals Club. I am your host, Hazel Robertson, and I believe that to make the impact that you know you are called to make in the world, it requires setting bigger, scarier goals and then becoming the person who creates them. That is what I am here to show you how to do. That's what we're diving into with mindset, tools, tricks, really simple, practical, actionable steps you can take and start applying straight away. Because whatever you believe, we have this one life that we definitely know about. Start making the impact you know you want to make in the world. Fear is not a reason to stop. We keep going. We work through the fear. That is what we do in the Scary Goals Club. So come on in, come join, hit subscribe, and let's get started. Hello, and welcome to the Scary Goals Club podcast. Oh my gosh, it's so good to be back. I am so excited to be podcasting again. And if you are watching this on video, if not, then I will explain what is in the background and what is around. There's literally nothing in the background because I'm recording this from our new office in our new house. And that is exactly what I'm diving into in today's podcast episode is how we created literally what is our dream home and just all of the things, like all of the tools that I used, how like I have gone through this process over the last, what is it now? It's October now, since June last year, like year and a bit, and how we actually got here. And you can take these tools and apply them. If there's something big, some big scary goal, like something that you're working towards, like you can take these tools too. And I just want to say, hi, it's so nice to be back. I took a little pause. There's a few updates I'm going to do over the next few podcasts, but I took a little pause. There was a few amazing things all happening at once. And I just wanted to give myself a little bit of space to be able to focus fully on those and then come back with like so many things to share on the podcast. So here I am. I'm back. I've missed you guys. And I know from some of you catching up that you've been listening to like past episodes, and I just think it's so fun. And I'm so grateful to my past self for creating those episodes and putting them out there and having them in the world that like you can just be out on a walk or out on a run or be like, oh, there's something I will need to catch up on or I want to like listen or get a perspective on. And it's been really fun like hearing where you've been listening to those past episodes and some of the ahas, like thanks for those of you who've reached out, like the ahas you've had or like the nugget of wisdom that's come like at just the right time. And it's just one of the things I love most about this podcast is, you know, I get to stand up and share all these things and then it's out in the world and you can just take them whenever works for you, however works for you, and digest it in your own time and just take what resonates. And also the really fun thing, like even if you've listened to an episode before, when we listen to things again multiple times, I fully believe that we always hear exactly what it is that we need to hear in that moment. So even like on another listen, a second listen, a third listen, other things like other nuggets or like little bits of wisdom or truths or whatever you need in that moment will come out. And maybe you didn't hear it the first time because there was something else that you needed to hear. And so that piece of wisdom or insight landed with you. It was like, oh, right, this is the thing. This is like what I want to focus on. And then, yeah, just every time there's something new will be revealed. And even, I mean, I've been doing this work for a few years now and like and I'll talk through some of that today, but like every single time I'm applying it and like applying it to something in my life and some big scary goal and something that I'm working towards is different every single time. And I'm like, and every time I go through it or like remind myself of something, there's always something new or like some deeper level of understanding that I have. And it's just, I love this work so much. Anyway, let's get into today's episode. So I have a few things scribbled down because I wanted to make sure that I actually covered them. And 5 things. And really, like, I mean, it is crazy to be in this house. In some ways, it's crazy, and in some ways, it's not. Like, I've been imagining it and visualizing it and living here or somewhere like this, like in my mind, for certainly since last June. So it's like a year and a half, a year and a bit, anyway, a year and a third. I can't even think what that is in months. Last June to year and 4 months, something like that. Like, quick, do the math in your head live on a podcast. See if anyone notices the pause. And I may be speaking a little bit quickly. It's honestly, it's so nice being in here. And one of our neighbors just popped around. I was just finishing my lunch with this massive box of chocolates. So, of course, I've put them away now, but like I had a few and I took a cup of tea and I went out and I sat in the sun. It's such a nice day today. Sat on the grass, had my cup of tea, had a few chocolates, and was just like, oh, this is so nice. So I've got a little bit of the like, oh, I'm excited to be back doing the podcast, and also a little bit of the like post chocolate sugar rush, which may wear off by the end of the episode, but I'm gonna roll with it. We're here, we're here. So yeah, so in terms of like, I guess the journey that we've been on with this house, so for context, we moved to Bangkok like 2 years ago, and we had been renting, and we had a house that we had lived in Edinburgh before. So we had a house in Edinburgh, we were renting that out, and we knew that we were just trying to figure out if we actually wanted to stay in Bangkok. And then we knew like by last year, we're like, yeah, we definitely want to stay here. Like we love it here. And so we're thinking, okay, what is it that we want? Like, where do we want to live? What kind of house? Like, what is that going to be like? And I kept getting this like nudge. I guess this is point number one of like how we've created this is number one is like following my intuition, following those nudges, following the ideas, the like little signs, the like, do this, go here, reach out to this person. What about this? Even if it didn't make sense, and even like in the moment, it was like, this is like going down a quote unquote like dead end or like not taking us. Like now I can see from where we are now that all of those decisions, all of the time spent and like other meanders that we took were all leading us to this house, which is the craziest thing. So I was listening to my intuition, listening to these nudges, and there were these self-build houses that we were going down a process with. And it didn't fully make sense. We didn't really know exactly how we would make it work, but it was like, nope, let's do this, let's do this. We went down this like entire process of designing a house that we were going to build. And like by the way, we're not in that house. We're in another house. So we've gone through this whole like design process with like an architect and all of that kind of stuff. And yet, like I kept following. Okay, yeah, let's do this until it became a no. And actually, I was chatting to a client about this morning about like, it's like following our intuition, trusting ourselves, listening to ourselves, and understanding for ourselves what does a yes feel like, a real yes, or like, okay, this is the next step feel like in our body, and what does a no feel like? And with practice, you can kind of tune into this and you can understand. And like, even though maybe a week or so earlier, and like for the last few months, I had been visualizing this like self-built house and where it was going to be, and like imagining that and imagining us being in it. And it felt very expansive, very open, very like, oh, this is it. And then I can't even think at what moment it switched and it started to become a no, even though almost like nothing external had really changed. My body knew something was different. It had like picked up on some information. There was something that had changed, whatever that was. And I didn't question it or be like, well, we've gone through this whole, we've spent all this money on like an architect and designing this house. And we've spent all this time and all this like thinking about the layout and how this is going to work and like our lighting and where the plug sockets are going to be. And like, it could be very easy to be like, well, I've spent all of this time and energy and money. Let's just go ahead with it. But it kept coming back that it was a no for months before. And it was like, well, okay, let's just see. But at that point, it was like it's not like we had something else. We had this like on paper amazing house that we were in the process of about to be building. We even sold our house in Edinburgh. Like we did all of the things with that. And yet it was still coming back as a no, even though we didn't have anything else. And like, that is like with this whole, I think the one word with like all of this house stuff, like the one feeling, the one word that I like keep coming back to is trust. Like the amount of trust that it has taken when you have something that looks perfectly amazing that's like, this would be perfect, this would be this in front of you, but your body's still giving you a no, and yet there's nothing else to compare it to. So it's almost like that what we had to go through a process of was letting go of something that was quote unquote good, like seemingly good, knowing that actually there would, and like trusting, we didn't know. We like had to lean into knowing and trusting that there was actually something better that was coming. We just didn't have it or have visibility of it quite yet. Like that has been one of the like just biggest lessons, and in terms of like trust and self-trust, is like being able to say no to something would be amazing, that would be really good, but knowing that it's actually not quite right, even though it's like, I don't know why it's not quite right. My body's saying it's a no. It was a yes, now it's a no. I still don't know exactly why. And even like when we knew it wasn't the self build, and we were looking at houses, we were like, okay, we'll look at houses to buy. We went and saw one that would be like, amazing for the next maybe like 3 to 5 years that we could imagine living in. It's like was a bit smaller, and it would be amazing for like, it was a gorgeous house, like amazing location, like this really nice garden, like so many amazing things about it. And again, it's like we tried to do the logicking of like the pros and the cons, and like this is the good thing about it, and this is what would be amazing, and da, da, da. It's still not having this, like being able to compare it to something else, which like the house we're in now, because it wasn't on the market at that time. And still, even though we went to see it a few times, like you walk in, you get a really nice feel about it. But whenever I checked in with my body, it was like, it's a no. Even though, again, we didn't have anything else. Like we didn't know what else was coming up or what would come on the market. My body said it was a no. It was like, okay, it's a no. And again, that letting go of something that's like, we would be so happy in this house for a few years. Like it would be amazing. Okay, we'd have to move in a few years' time, but like for a few years, it would be amazing. We could move in. There's nothing needs done to it. Like it'd be really easy straight away. Like there were so many things again on paper that were amazing. And yet still my body was like, it's a no. It's a no. so so that was that. And then just like I think with all of this is like when and something that I have learned certainly over the last few years and was apparent with this, like if something feels forced, it's a no. Because when things feel really easy, when the decision isn't always easy, but it's like it's clear. And when it is like that, that's when it's a yes, and everything it just like almost falls into place so easily. And yet when it's this like forcing and figuring it out and like how do we do this and how do it, it's probably a no. That's something I've certainly learned is like when we were forcing, and there was a lot more like maybe forcing with the house design by the end, which I maybe hadn't picked up on of like, okay, well, this isn't going to quite work like this. Like, well, maybe I have to make it look like this. Maybe I have to do this. Like, actually, we'd started to compromise on what we initially wanted and what we were like, oh, this would be, if we're going to like build our own house, it's going to be like this. And then we were having to make like design, like decisions and differences and like, like, I guess make decisions and compromise on some things. And maybe that's where my body was like, this isn't like you're going down this process, but it's not actually the house that you initially were thinking that you wanted. Like it would be amazing for sure, and it looked amazing on paper, but like there's had to be all these decisions of like changing things that ultimately were actually really important to us. That maybe in hindsight now I'm like, maybe that's why it was a no. And so even then, when this house that we're in now like came on the market, and immediately it was like, oh my gosh, this is our house. Like Luke sent it to me. He was like, I think I found our house. And we went to go see it, and it was just this like, oh, the most amazing feeling. And yet it was a stretch, like, and it is a stretch. And so, whereas the other house, it was like, okay, this could be good for a few years, and like, this is easy, like, we know how to make this work. This one was like, right, we are gonna have to figure out a way. We know we want this house. We're gonna have to figure out a way to make this work. And yet, even in that, of like, we still don't know exactly how we're gonna make this work right now, but like, we know we want this house. We're gonna figure it out. My body and checking in with it was like, it's a yes. It just felt so open, so expansive. And I think for me, what was so interesting when I was doing the visualization, like imagining like us in this house, is I was imagining like 10, 20 years from now. It wasn't just this like, and so it was almost like over that longer time period, it was like, of course we're going to figure out the short term of how to make this actually work, because of the long term, it's like, this is where we're going to be for like a good few years. Like we know this, we can feel this. And it just felt, it's that like trusting my intuition just became, it's like I knew when it was this yes, even though it still felt scary. It still felt like it took a lot of courage to say yes, to be like, okay, we're going to go for this. Like, this is a shift, this is a change, this is a step up, and let's go for it. And just, yet the yes, the decision, it just felt so solid, so grounded, and so like open and expansive. And so it's really like, I guess for you is just thinking, where are there decisions in your life? Like even reflecting how do you know that something's like a yes? What does that feel like in your body when you're like, oh, this is a yes, even though it might seem a bit scary, it might seem like a bit of a stretch, but it's just like, oh, this is a yes. And what does a no feel like for you? And the more that you can discern between those, the more that you can actually use it for any decision making, but especially bigger things like this, where there might be, you make your pros and cons list, you do your like logicking and your reasoning, and yet still in your body, it's a no, or maybe still is a yes, even though like the logic would put you the other way. And this is where intuition's so powerful, because like our body's just aware of so much more information that we maybe our mind hasn't quite picked up on, or maybe we can look back in hindsight and like, and even looking back, it's like, yeah, we spent all that time and money of energy designing a house for the like year before we find this one, and selling our house in Edinburgh and like going through that whole process. We would not have been in a position to buy this house if we'd had to sell our house in Edinburgh. Like, I don't think they would have accepted our offer. But we were ready to go. Like, we had been renting, we'd sold our house already. Like, it meant that it was just an easier decision for then the seller to make, because we were in a place that we were like, we can move really quickly. Like, we don't need to sell anywhere. We're renting, like, all is well. And I think also going down the process of like designing a house and really thinking about, okay, what is it that's important to us? Like, what do we actually need? How would we move in a space? How would we live in a space? Meant that when we saw this place and some of the others we looked at, it was so much easier to be like, oh, yeah, this is what we're looking for. Or like, actually, this is a no, because we put so much thought into the actual design of it, of like what was important, what we could compromise on, like what actually mattered as well. So it's one of those things that now I can see it. Like I did not understand, and it could be very easy to be like, oh, we wasted a year and like thousands of pounds on designing a house and we didn't even build it and live in it. But it's like that was never, and what I truly believe is like by following my intuition, going down this like, okay, I think we should go down this process. Let's do this, until it was a no. It led us to being in this position to be able to actually be ready for this house. Like if we hadn't done that and we were just looking around, like there's no way we would have been able to get this house. Like absolutely no way, without getting into that position, which we had already done like last year as well. So it's just, you never know, like by following your intuition, it might seem, it just does, sometimes it doesn't even seem logical, or it's like, this is a bit odd. I don't really see where this is going. And then afterwards, you will 100% see where it's going to be like, oh, now I understand. Okay, so the second one that really helped with this whole process was just loving where I was. Even though we were renting, we wanted to be in our own place, like we'd lived in our own place before. And so to go from that to renting, it was like, we just wanted our own space. We wanted to be able to like make changes and like fix things and decorate and do all that stuff that we just didn't want to do in a house that we knew we'd only be in for like a couple of years max. And yet it would have been so easy to get frustrated. And of course I did at times of like, oh, we're not there yet. Will we, it's like, will we ever find it? Like, oh. And yet every time I managed to catch my brain and just bring it back to like, how I just like loved, I was like, even when we were living in a house that we knew was not where we were going to end up and was not like our dream house, every single day I told myself, I am living my dream life. I am living in my dream house, and just like imagining it, believing it, just having that, like telling myself that. And also just appreciating all of the things of like where our house was and our amazing neighbors and like the trails just behind it and like the location and all the memories with that and just anchoring in on just loving where I was. And I think that's almost like everything with scary goals. Like if you were going to summarize the whole process of like it's this weird dance between loving and just being so grateful and appreciative of your life and where you are, and still knowing that you are expanding and growing and creating more, and that there's more experiences you're going to have in your life and more like things that you're going to create and impact that you're going to make in the world, and yet not being like, because I'm not there yet, I can't enjoy where I am now. It's like completely loving where you are and also being like, and this is coming, and almost just like leaning into like, I know that this is coming. The third thing that really helped was, yeah, this is really fun. I visualized it a lot. So even like the process of designing the house, there wasn't like a house like ours that had been built. So you're like imagining the floor plan. Like I was walking through it in my mind. I was visualizing it. I was imagining it, like lying on the sofa out for walks, just like imagining I'd like go up to where the houses were going to be built. And I'd imagine I was like walking home there and like walking up the drive and like, oh, imagine if this is where I live. Or like every time I drive home, I'd like imagine driving there instead. I did that with the new house as well in the process of buying it. It's like, oh, we would be turning this way instead of this way. And just visualizing it, imagining it. I had a vision board. I don't actually have it unpacked quite yet, but like made one at the start this year. So like this vision board that I would look at every day, even when there was no evidence. Like even when we decided it was like, okay, we're not going ahead with self-build. And there was no, there was literally, it was like, okay, well, no house has come up in the last year that we'd want to buy, and nothing's coming up. It could be so easy to be like, nothing's coming up, we'll never find anything. And instead, and like my brain would sometimes go there, but it was bringing it back to like, no, I'm imagining being there and really just like feeling into it. The other thing I did with all that was just got so clear. I'm like, okay, what is it we actually want? And I made this list, and it has been like, once we got this place and we got the offer accepted, it was so fun ticking off. I guess the thing with all of this is just write down what it is that you want. Like write it down, create a visual for it. Don't be like, oh, but how like it's very easy to be like, how will that happen? How will we ever find it? How could we possibly find a house that has all of these things? It's like very easy to get into that. Write it down anyway. Like, what is the biggest, wildest dream? What would you love? And just write it down. And it is crazy. Like watching it like actually come true, and then you go back through, you're like, whoa, at one point like this was literally all a dream, and now, and it was like, how will I ever do it, how will it ever happen? And then now I'm like, oh, literally it happened, and in such a different way than we could ever expect. And that's the fun thing, is like it doesn't actually matter how it happens. That's not your job to control. Your job is to be like, okay, what is it that I want? What, like really getting specific on it, like why is it that you want it, writing it down, and then keeping focusing on it, keeping visualizing it, and like watching it unfold. And it's just, oh, it's so fun. Number 4, and again, this was like that main feeling of trust. What, like, I think probably this is probably the thing I'm like most proud of with this whole process, is trusting that it was happening, that it was on its way, that there were good things happening behind the scenes that I had no idea about. And this actually happened early on, even like when we were doing the house design. We had this, we were initially looking, we're like, oh, none of the plots are quite what we want. And we were like, okay, we'll check back in after like a holiday. And then we got back and someone had pulled out of another plot. So we were like, yes, this plot's amazing. It's got like trees around. Like, this is so cool. And so we went down that process, and then literally like, was it a few months later? I can't remember. Someone had pulled out of like another plot that was like similar, but like a lot bigger. So suddenly it was like, oh, we get this bigger plot. Like, this is so cool. And it just, when we had first gone down the process, it could have been easy to be like, well, we don't want to do it because nothing is going to actually definitely work. But it was like, and almost the delay of the like, oh, we're going to wait, let's check in after holiday. Actually, every time there had been like some kind of delay or some kind of wait, something amazing had happened behind the scenes that suddenly it was like, oh, this changes everything and makes it so much better. Until of course it wasn't, and it became a no, and like that's okay. And even like I think it was the day before this house that we're in now, like came on the market. I was just leaning into the thought and I was just like sitting with it. And I was like, I am so grateful that this is the day, the last day. This day is the last day before we find our dream house. And I was prepared to almost like believe that every single day until we find it. And literally that night, Luke was like, I think I found our dream house. It was so fun. And then even the next day, it was like, I'm so grateful. This is the last day, or the 2 days after, whatever, that we'd seen it. I'm so grateful this is the last day before we put an offer in, like we're able to put an offer in on the house. Even though it was still like, okay, can we make this work? Is this going to work? How's this going to be? How's this going to be? And then it was like, we can put an offer in. And it was like, I'm so grateful this is the last day before our offer is accepted on the house. And like the offer was accepted on the house. And literally within a matter of days, we'd gone from it coming on, seeing it and being like, okay, let's go for it. And it's just like, even as I was imagining on that day, like, I'm so grateful this is the last day before we find our dream house. It was all happening behind the scenes. Like they'd maybe made the decision months before. And maybe that was why I was getting the no's suddenly were starting happening for the self build. Maybe it was like the universe was aligning and telling me like it's like something else better is coming. Like someone else somewhere has made a decision that they're gonna move and that they have another home they want to find or that they've already found. I'm like, oh, it's just I just love like I actually love thinking about that. It makes me giddy and excited and just in awe of how like the world works and how life works. It's like even right now, like whatever your like massive big dreams, scary dreams or big goals that you're working towards, big visions, like whatever they are, really just leaning into and trusting someone somewhere is making a decision or like something's happening behind the scenes, someone's having a conversation, something is happening that in a day, 2 days, a week, a month, 6 months, a year, whatever the timeline is going to like overlap with your timeline, overlap with like your goal, and suddenly it's going to make whatever your goal is happen. Like, I just love thinking about that. It's like it's all happening behind the scenes. It's almost like from where we are now, we can just see our bit of what we see in front of us and what we're aware of, but there's this like whole other stuff that we're not even aware of that's going to come into our space and suddenly it's going to change our lives like forever and everything is going to be different. And oh, I just love thinking about that because it just makes me feel so open. It makes me think about like the possible, like there's always possibility. And I've just seen this again and again and again. I'm going to do another podcast on like another big goal that I've been working towards that's so fun. And it's the same thing. It's like we just you never know if this is the final day before your life changes for the most amazing in the best way ever, like forever. Like tomorrow could be that day. In an hour could be that time where like now you're just like blissfully unaware, like you have your goal, you're not quite sure how you get there, and then something happens, someone's made a decision, someone reaches out, whatever the thing is, the paths collide, something happens, and your life changes forever in the best way. And it is the most fun to believe that because it just makes the day to day, even when you're working towards your goal, even when it's not quite there yet, and you're in this place, you're like, I know this is where I want to be, and I'm not quite here yet. It makes just that so much more fun because it's like literally everything could change in a moment, and it's just it's so good. Okay, and then the final piece with all of this, which I guess is like kind of like that last comment, is just I just love the whole process and the journey, even when it maybe started to get a bit frustrating with like house design stuff, or it wasn't like things were going slower than we had wanted. Like, I just, like, I guess what was the belief that I was leaning into? It was like, I am building our dream life, or like, I'm living my dream life. I'm building my dream life. I'm living my dream life. And it was like, even again, it's like, what a luxury to be able to design a house. How amazing is that to be able to even imagine what you want your house to be like? And even the process of like here when we were trying to get all the legal stuff sorted, and it could be easy to be like, oh, it's like we were on holiday at the time. It's like, how amazing is that? We get to be on holiday, have like all these cool adventures, and then in the evening do some legal stuff. And it was like, this is amazing. This is all happening. And just even like, hang on 2 seconds. I need a drink of water. Mm. Even like the morning, the morning that we got, was it morning or just the moment that like, we had just signed, no, had we signed the missives or we were just about to? It was all like just about to happen. And I'd been driving the car. I was driving so that he would have a nap. And I have this like little route. So I did like an out and then he was starting to fall asleep. So I paused for a second and I just felt it was like the most intense wave of just like gratitude and like love and like I was like, this is it. We are about to move into this house that literally I have written down a list of like all the things that at one point I was like, I don't know how we're ever going to do this, but this would be so freaking cool. And just allowing myself to dream, not shutting it down, actually allowing myself to go there and just like having this list, even if I didn't know exactly how it was going to work. And it was like my amazing son's like asleep in the back. Like I'm in this lovely car that feels all safe. I'm in this amazing part of the world. Like, and it just, this is this, just this like wave of emotion just like hit me. And I was just absolutely sobbing, just like tears of like relief and gratitude and joy and just like so much awe and amazement for like my past self for being like not shutting down my dream and not being like, well, how are you going to make this happen? It was like, no, I know this is what we want. Let's keep focusing on this. And just at that moment where, and for me, like if you've listened to past episodes, like you might know oftentimes when I'm out on a walk or like something is coming to me or something is like the universe telling me like I'm on the right track, like birds are a big part of that. And they can be a sign that it's like, keep going, you're on the right track. And so I sat in this car and I was like wiping my tears away. And I just looked down, like just in front, I was just in this like car park, like gravelly car park. I just looked down in front of the car and I saw all like five goldfinches swoop down. And goldfinches, if you don't know what they are, they have this like amazing like yellow bits and like red on their heads and white. And they're just like really like fun birds. And they like all come together and they like come in a flock. Is it a flock of birds? A flock of birds. They like fly around together and they just all came down. They were like having a little bird bath in the puddle in front of me and like pecking on the ground for some stuff. And it was just like the most amazing, just like beautiful moment of having that moment of pause, having that moment of like letting it sink in, not being like, and now we're on to the next thing and unpacking boxes. And, you know, it's like there's always more that we could be doing and could be like, and now I have to do this, now I have to do this, but actually just allowing myself to be like, oh, we did it. Like we're here. Like we did it. And just letting that sink in. And then the goldfinches came and it was just amazing. And then even like we'd moved in and on the Friday I woke up like before anyone else. I like couldn't sleep. I was so excited. And I took Maple out for a pee and then took a cup of tea outside. And I was just looking up and I could see the stars. I could see like Orion and the Big Dipper. And I was like, oh, this is so amazing. I could hear an owl hooting. It was like, there's an owl hooting. This is so good. And then Maple on the way back in was like sniffing around and she was a bit like at some like dark shape. And I was like, oh, I wonder what that is. So I like put on the light and it was a hedgehog. It's like, there's a hedgehog in our garden. I was just like, this is the nature house. This is like what we wanted, what like I just dreamed about. And it's like, there's a freaking hedgehog in the garden. It's like, this is wild. And just, it's like, yeah, again, with this whole thing, just loving, even when it was hard, even when it was uncertain, leaning into the trust, but just like loving the process and just allowing myself to feel all of the good, all of the like, oh, this is so good, and just letting it sink in. And it's made the whole process and the whole journey just like, just that much more fun and enjoyable because there's always things to do. There's always stuff to focus on, another goal, whatever. And it's, but the more that we can just be present, it's kind of like the appreciating what we already have. It's like the same with that, but actually doing it when we create a goal, which is very easy to be like, cool, cool, next. And it's like, no, this, and just like being in it and being like, I am that person that kept believing, that kept showing up, that kept holding the vision, that kept coming up with these crazy ideas and following them, even when it was like, how's this going to work? How's this going to work? Like, I am that person. And now here we are. And it's just amazing. So, anyway, with all that, see if any of that's helpful. And like whatever goal you're working towards, just pick something, lean into that, and like something that feels fun to work on, lean into that, and just oh yeah, I can't even think what else to say. The sugar's basically worn off, hasn't it? Of the chocolates. Maybe I'm gonna have another one and then record another podcast. I'm like, I have so many things to say. Let's go. Anyway, yeah, it's so good to be back. And I have some really fun interviews coming up for you. So those will be coming out in the podcast in a bit. Some other fun solo episodes and some other fun stuff in the pipeline. And it feels so good to be back. I am so excited. And thank you so much for sharing your time, your energy, your attention with me. It honestly means the world. And I'm so excited for you and your scary goals and how you're going to create them. And obviously, if you want any support doing that, you know where to find me. Right. Have an amazing rest of the day, an amazing week ahead, and I'll see you next time. Mwah! Bye. Hey, thanks so much for listening. If this was helpful, please hit subscribe and leave a review. This helps get this work in the hands of more purposeful people. That is, more people creating bigger, scarier goals, making an even bigger impact in the world. And if you want to take this work deeper and work with me directly, head to the show notes and I put all of the information there. If you've got any questions or if there's anything you're like, ooh, I'd love you to talk about that on the pod, please just get in touch. I love hearing from you guys. And I'll see you next time in the Scary Goals Club.